Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or older in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. This is segment one. We're right
Welcome back. Okay.
Yeah, well, you know.
You haven't been here before. Welcome anyway.
Welcome anyway. This is episode 123 of this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. If you notice, we do sound different. We are on location.
We're at a secret location in a special hideaway in a hotel in their breakfast lobby.
We just like the Iranians, we feel safe. We're at a 300-foot bunker. Nobody can touch us here. Trust us. Anyway,
this window doesn't mean anything next to us, does it?
The what?
The window doesn't mean anything.
No, it'd be all right. Yeah, so we actually met up in person. We are in Concord, North Carolina, and so this will be fun doing this. We are probably an abbreviated show, but then again, we know how we go. And
We've met us.
Yeah, it may not work out that way. So anyway, yeah, this has been kind of fun. We went and had a barbecue last night. Had some brisket, and it was really, really good. A lot of food. They must really like to serve like big people.
Yeah, and I got extra because I'm a growing boy, and I will need it for probably the next 3 meals.
Yeah. Thankfully, we're all going home tomorrow. He's going back to Virginia tomorrow, and
I'm going back to Virginia today.
Today, that's what I meant. Yeah. So we're bringing leftovers for everybody.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So we are on location. So we're going to try to put this out next week. We are going to be a day delayed since Richard is going to be flying the friendly skies.
That's right. The last 3 weeks has all been about me.
Well, your kids.
Yeah.
And that's you've been a cook.
Yeah, I've been doing I get to do lots of grilling. My youngest grandson goes, Are you going to make a bunch of grilled food again? Yes. He goes, oh, good.
That's a good thing. Thing.
And got to see his baseball team win regionals, and now they're at the state tournament starting this weekend for his baseball team.
That's awesome.
Go Virginia Beach Little League. Yay.
It's good to see that, I'm waiting for, as long as the men don't take over the women's sports, I'm looking forward to seeing my granddaughters in sports and stuff because, they already beat up their papa quite a bit. So I think they're going to be nice, strong, stout young girls. So it's pretty
You're
good.
Training them already.
I guess so, yeah. That's the thing. Oh, Papa's here. I get to hit something. It's him. So anyway. I'm sure everyone has heard that the whole bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran. Last night at midnight, supposedly there was a brokered peace deal. So we'll see if that's worth its weight in paper. I mean, I'm
going to guess they probably were given the same like a timeline. And the last one, it didn't work out so well for them.
No, but I do think and you and I have talked about this, I think last night and this morning, that I think a lot of this whole thing was to teach people here or in Iran and around the world that, look, when I tell you there's going to be a deadline, there's a deadline. And when you don't meet that deadline, because it was, this whole 60 days, we played that clip from last week that Marco Rubio talked about. And then I think after all that happened, after Israel had bombed them, then they came back and said, all right, you got 2 weeks to come to the table. And they told Trump, I'm not interested in coming to the table. And it was like 48 hours later. It's like, interested now?
Well, it was 60 days. And on the 61st day, fireworks. Yay.
I mean, you mess around and find out there's a different meme for that. But yes. So anyway, the names of the facilities was Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, whatever. I don't know.
Sure, I'm looking at the words. Good for you. That sounded as close as I'd get.
No idea. But, of course, Bernie Sanders he came out
come on.
and said
Was
that,
there oligarchs? Was there a problem with them?
This is a statement from Donald Trump, quote, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran," etc. I'll tell you something. Not only is this news that I've just heard, the second alarming that all of you have just heard, but it is so grossly unconstitutional. All of you know that the only entity that can take this country to war is the U.S. Congress. The president does not have the right.
of course, he's on his oligarchy tour. The oligarchy tour.
Well, you're talking to a bunch of libbies that are, hanging out. And what are they going to do? Agree? They're all,
Oh, they're all brainwashed anyway.
all 16% of them that approve of the Democratic Party, because the latest poll is not kind to them.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But, to be fair, it probably is not constitutional. But I don't think there was a declaration of war. This was just dropping a couple of bombs. Obama did that. I mean, I think everybody's done that back to Eisenhower. So.
But how quickly they forget when it's one of their own that did it.
Yeah.
What? No, we didn't. Well, let's go to the tape, shall we?
Speaking of how quickly they forget Hillary, we were so good at this. Even remotely, we're good at this. Hillary, from her campaign in 2008 when she was running against...
Yes, but you're sitting across from me, and with the laptop in the way, it's about the right size.
It works out good. We've only known each other from like nipples up, so it's no different today. But anyway,
you had to say it like that, didn't you?
Well, FCC, I'm sorry if you're upset with me. Anyway, Hillary said this back in 2008 when she was running against Barack Hussein Obama, and this is even better. Hang on.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Obliterate. I like that word.
And if anybody knows how to obliterate, well, it's Hillary.
That's true. She's obliterated many under the guise of, the suicide.
Well, you've seen her latest limo. It's got all these little bodies with circles.
That's true.
It's like a World War II pilots that they used to put on there.
Oh yeah, that's right. They put little notches, almost notches on the bedpost, almost type thing. Yeah. And then Obama, from one of his debates with Mitt Romney back in 2012, said this:
"A nuclear Iran is a threat to our national security, and it's a threat to Israel's national security. We cannot afford to have a nuclear arms race in the most volatile region of the world. Iran's a state sponsor of terrorism, and for them to be able to provide nuclear technology to non-state actors, that's unacceptable. And they have said that they want to see Israel wiped off the map. So the offers Iran a choice. They can take the diplomatic route and end their nuclear program, or they will have to face a united world and a United States president, me, who said we're not going to take any options off the table."
Was that perfect or what? I mean, it's exactly what just happened, except he didn't have the cojones, the berries, whatever, to do what Trump did.
Yeah, talk a big game and then didn't do much. And it doesn't take other world leaders very long to figure out, like, you're just blowing smoke up our hoo-ha. Who cares?
Exactly. Like, and we were talking about that too, as far as poor old Joe. I mean, I think what was his message to the Middle East? Don't. It's like, and Kamala got on.
No. Kamala did it in a more stern manner.
Oh, that's true.
Don't.
That's true. That stiff upper lip.
She had the frown and the don't. She didn't even cackle. I was impressed.
Wow. Yeah. It knocked my socks off. I know that. I'm sure it did them in the Middle East.
Kind of like the mom that says, Johnny, if you don't stop doing that, Johnny, I'm going to come over. Would you, one more time, and nothing ever happens. So Johnny goes,
It's
And just keeps doing what he's doing anyway.
Yep. That inept mom at Walmart. That's all I can figure.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, just get the Snickers bar, Johnny. Jeez Louise. Anyway. Yeah, of course, AOC now is talking about impeachment because he went outside the Constitution. This, again, it's not a declaration of war, so I think we're splitting hairs here.
I love how they're changing the trash can. We told you we're live.
We could have been at a hotel where they didn't change trash cans. I mean, just once the roaches got out of control, they just set it on fire and just let it go. So it's a 2.5-star hotel. There's no.
Well, it said 3.5.
Oh, was it 3.5?
I think there was some stretching. It's clean. It's nice.
Yeah. There's some construction going on. I'm actually surprised that they haven't started yet today, but they went in late into the night last night.
Yes. So. Well, we still have time for another segment for them to join us.
That's true. There's still hope, folks. We still have hope. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. With streaming news stations starting up all the time, people get to see the news from a variety of sides. Richard likes to watch MSNBC. We were just talking about that at breakfast. And he has to, you got to take it in little bites, right?
Oh, yeah. It's maybe 20 minutes worth of it is about all I can, but it's seeing, because we watch a lot of different sources. And we like to get the stuff that comes straight from the horse's mouth, if you will. It's an interview with the senator or with whoever it might be, with Rubio or whatnot. Right. And then you see what actually took place, and then what MSNBC and CNN, sorry folks, bastardized the living crap out of this interview. Yeah. It's just. That's not how it went at all.
That is what it's amazing to me. But the people who are watching them exclusively don't look at anything else, so they don't know.
Yeah, they have no idea. Yeah, this is what was said, and this is what Jake Tapper told me. Okay, that's not a source. Sorry,
I wouldn't trust him if he told me what time it was. Jeez, but a lot of these streaming services done really well. Blaze TV, of course, it's Glenn Beck's organization.
Yep.
And of course they do come from the right sometimes, but there are some like, is it Newsmax that has both sides? Isn't that where Chris Cuomo's at?
No, he is at News Nation.
That's what it is. News Nation.
It's News Nation, and you've got. What is the ON? Isn't
OAN,
you go
yeah.
ON? Yeah, that's One American Network News, and they actually do a pretty good job of putting out. This is what took place, and then you watch the actual interviews. They're pretty much right on. I found a lot of their stuff to be very honest in the way that they do stuff. So,
and that's the thing. So you can go middle of the road with some of this stuff. I mean, just tell us both sides.
Yeah.
You got the Jessica Tarlovs on the 5 where you can listen to her. Well, it's like she's outnumbered, granted, but the stuff that comes out of her mouth.
As soon as she starts going rogue and saying, "Well, this and this," you got 4 other people going, "No." That was not it at all. But she wants to stay with the, how should we say this politely, the stretch of the truth that rubber band can't go much farther.
No, not without snapping back and hitting her right in the eyeball. I mean, but it is amazing though how people just lap that up like a dog that's been outside all summer. It's like I just don't understand how you can be such a follower. It blows my mind, especially when it comes to news, where there's so many other sources out there.
Well, the problem is you can't take a liberal congressman or a liberal senator's word either.
No,
because
that's true too.
The party line, they just keep. We were talking earlier, and the latest poll that we saw, the Democrats' approval rating is 16%. It's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
It went 29, 27, 21, 16. It's like you're going backwards at the auction, folks.
It's not a good thing at all. But to be fair, I think the Republicans are starting to be a little bit of cannibalizing themselves too. Thomas Massey has come out and did not like this whole thing that Trump did this past weekend. Trump actually started a PAC to unseat him from his congressional seat in Kentucky.
And I don't think that's necessary just
No,
because
I
somebody
think
has
so
a
either.
differing opinion. But they've got such a small margin on things, they kind of have to sort of stick together. You want to go rogue, okay, all you're doing is shooting your party and the country in the foot. And the Democrats shoot themselves often enough as
They
it
do.
is.
They do. But they are better at sticking together. I mean,
Yeah.
except for maybe Fetterman. He's really the only wild card they got right now.
Yeah, I don't know how much longer he's going to stay with the Democratic Party.
I don't know either.
What did I tell you? What would show up? What did I tell you?
Here we go.
Families have invaded the lunch
We're
room.
waiting for the kid to come over and go, "What are you doing?"
Hey, mister, what's that thing you're speaking into? I ain't got one of those at home. Anyway,
I'll take my sandal off, and the beating sound is me hitting a kid that I don't know. Let's do this one clip before we try to do a break. This is AOC being a little bit on the disgruntled side.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into.
Speaking of spew,
misinformation and just, if there's anybody that should know what that is, it would be her. I guess that is a voice of authenticity because she spews crap that's so false. It's unreal.
she knows of what she speaks.
Yeah, she wants to do censorship. What's that thing called? Oh, that's right, the First Amendment.
Yeah, and when the First Amendment, according to Cornell Law School, I had to look this up, make sure that this was. I understood the First Amendment. I've read it many times, but Cornell University Law School says freedom of the press, according to the First Amendment, is the right to freely publish communications and expressions of opinion through various forms of media. Freedom of the press limits the government's control or censorship over the media, except in the most severe national security risk potential.
Which
I don't
they
think we're here.
did some of. Yeah, we're not there. Which they did some of during World War II and stuff. But yeah, that's called. You can't do that. It's like, and who is always speaking this stuff of you can't just spew stuff because it doesn't agree with the.
That's the thing. And it's a leader of the Democratic Party. I think that's the future leader.
Oh my Lord! Do you have to say that? I just but. I
Yeah,
got
I
a
know.
bad taste
I know.
in my mouth
We
now.
probably-
Stop
We
that.
probably need a break. We're going to go grab some orange juice that just tipped over on the floor over there. We're going to go. We're going to go have something. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The Stay Off My Lawn podcast is recorded before a live studio audience.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real men of genius.
Today we salute you, Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Mr. Centerfold Retoucher.
Your incredible talent takes gorgeous women and somehow makes them gorgeouser.
A mucho gorgioso.
Breasts bigger, moles smaller, mustaches gone.
You're a star.
Thanks to you, hot wax is a thing of the past, and working out is for suckers.
Ancient history.
Any artist can say their work is in a gallery, but how many can say their work is stuffed under mattresses around the world?
You're gonna go blind.
So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, old Da Vinci of the derriere, because thanks to you, we can enjoy real beauty the way we like it. Completely fake. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
My wife's sitting behind us, and she just told us we need to behave.
Oh my God, that's one of the best.
The centerfold one was great. Yeah, I can't. I just can't do it. Thank you, Martin, for sending us those Real Men of Genius. That was those are great. We appreciate that a lot.
Oh, smokes.
Oh gosh.
Hey,
yeah.
we were only 18 minutes.
Were we 18 minutes?
Yeah, so we're
doing okay. I wasn't sure, but I figured that was a good stopping point.
I will give you
Yeah.
It's
this
called
is it
close
now.
enough today.
Yeah.
This is the last one they're doing, and then we have some recorded material from us and from me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll be fun. The mainstream media has titled this next story as Kash Patel. He had a report on the 2020 election fraud conspiracy theory, which we know how conspiracy theories go. They almost all come true. Kayla Gaskins is a correspondent in Washington, D.C., and let me see if I can find it here. And she had this to say.
So earlier this week, FBI Director Kash Patel declassified intelligence to the Senate Judiciary Committee that outlined a plot by the CCP to turn in fake ballots. The declassified document states that Chinese government had produced a large amount of fraudulent United States driver's license that were secretly exported to the United States. The fraudulent driver's license would allow tens of thousands of Chinese students and immigrants sympathetic to the Chinese Communist Party to vote for U.S. presidential candidate Joe Biden, despite not being eligible to vote in the United States. Now, the FBI document also shows that China collected the names and addresses of millions of U.S. TikTok users to create the fake driver's licenses. In September of 2020, the FBI ordered its agents to destroy all copies of the report after recalling the information in order to re-interview its sources. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, though, Chuck Grassley, is demanding more answers into why the FBI, under former Director Christopher Wray, wanted the documents destroyed.
Yeah, nothing to see here. I mean,
those that are sympathetic to the Chinese government, excuse me.
I know that just sounds like a foreign phrase. It should not happen.
You mean it has nothing to do with the United States government and they're sympathetic toward the CCP?
Oh, the poor Chinese get blamed for everything. COVID, now this. Come on.
Well, isn't that saying that the Democrats are in cahoots with the CCP when they just said, I heard her say that those sympathetic with the CCP to vote for Biden.
Yeah.
So what?
Why is there a connection there? I mean, nothing to see though. Nothing to see. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. I mean, I really hope that somebody gets carted off in handcuffs. I haven't seen anything like that yet, but I totally expect, because of all the auto pen pardons and everything that happened, I believe that we're going to see. I'd like to see Fauci in a pair of handcuffs. I'd put it on him myself if I could. But there
would be some fanfare music with that.
Christopher Wray, the senator from Wyoming.
Harriet?
No.
Cheney.
Cheney, yeah. I'd like to see her
not
go
Harriet.
too.
Not our beloved Harriet.
Not Harriet. We love Harriet. Anyway.
Oh, and the other Congress people, there's been several different meetings, and they go, it's always nice when our resident constitutionalist is in the room. Constitutionalist expert, because they're all a bunch of buffoons when it comes to the Constitution. They spew stuff that goes, that's not even in there. You can't find the word democracy anywhere.
In any of the founding documents, not just the Constitution.
Yeah, that's right. It does not exist.
As a matter of fact, they warned against democracy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's, they don't know. And she starts doing stuff, and she knows it.
She's extremely smart.
And they go, okay. They don't kind of question her or nothing.
Her and Ted Cruz, I think, are in the same category, which I think they're both probably the smartest people in the Senate. And I when it comes to questioning something about the Constitution, I mean, they would know right off the top of their head.
Well, she's in the House, and
she's in the House. I was thinking she was a senator.
Yeah, she should be, because I don't even know who the senator from Wyoming is. The senators. There's more senators than there are.
There's only one House member, right?
That's right, because they don't even have 800,000 people in the state.
Incredible.
Idaho might get we might get a third one. We have two, and we've had two for a long time, but I think we finally have enough population to have a third one.
Oh, good. I know It just reminded me of this for some reason. But when we went to the state convention, two of the big things that we talked about, and hopefully that does make it up to Washington, D.C. to discuss it, is paper ballots. I think nationwide we should go back to paper ballots until we get something that that we can all trust. And right now,
it's Dominion and whatever that other company name is that's owned by Dominion.
And isn't Dominion, wasn't that a Venezuelan company?
Excuse me, that's who did all of their elections, if you want to call them that, in Venezuela.
When they won by 95%. Yeah.
It was pretty easy.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much evidence that, those don't work. You know what they were using for Wi-Fi connections? Because they say there's nothing connected to the internet. Oh, gosh. Well, you have all these, and these guys know how to use the port and go in through the back door. At home, we actually have a thermostat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's what they were just...
Really?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
And going that way. That is how Target, remember, it had that huge leak?
Oh, yeah.
It was the HVAC guy who was working on stuff, went to lunch because Target cannot control, no store can control their own. And I think Walmart's pretty much the same way. It all goes back to a central office. Everything is maintained the same temperatures and whatever, and they have no thermostats, no control over it. Well, something broke down, so that thermostat system that they have is through the internet. And he was back to the main office with stuff. And that little port, they just put a little worm in there, and that's how they got at it.
So much for air gap. Yeah,
left it open, and millions of people's cards got absconded with.
Weren't we talking last night that didn't they have a report in Arizona about the election thing?
Yes, they're about to be in big trouble there too, because they were told by a federal judge that no, you have to provide that information.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to just wait and see. Hopefully, these people dig out some integrity in their bones and just say, we shouldn't be doing this. Sorry.
Yeah.
And sorry for the 4 years.
I just realized I just had a nerd moment. It was, I was telling you all about how they got into stuff. It's just super. This is the best way to get at it. Sorry.
No, that's great. We learn stuff from your nerd moments. That's good things. They're all good things. Anyway, speaking of nerd moments, Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, here we go. She's made the news again. Wait,
you scrapped at that one. That was.
Yeah, you have to be smart to be a nerd, so that didn't really. There's no effect there.
So, I'm not even going to let that one slide. That was terrible.
That was terrible.
It was funny, but it was bad.
Anyway, she's made the news again about saying something stupid, and here that is.
Let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
I'm sorry, but where the Iranian regime is today, is nothing compared to
hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto and killed for
I'm sorry.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Oh man, you have so much more opportunity.
I know.
She's just so full.
She's
worth
like $18 million or something?
60 million.
60?
Yeah, and she's sitting there going, "Oh, it's such an oppressed society." Whoa, where did you get all your money from?
Maybe she knows by talking to her own servants. Do you feel oppressed?
I'm taking a survey.
Jeez. Well, Wesley Hunt wasn't having any part of it because being black in America, he knows something a little bit about that. And so he was being interviewed on, I think it was Bill Maher. So here's that.
What did you think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran? I see we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be we got to do something about The View. really believe that.
I mean, couldn't agree more.
Could you just it's huge in Iran, though.
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedown plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America. That's America. So let's celebrate that.
Yes. Couldn't ask for a better representative.
No, he just basically shut him down. And the clapping seals that Mar has for an audience actually had to agree with him.
They did.
It's like, I'm sorry, if you want to be something, if you want to be more than a thug that loots a store or that goes against whether you're white, pink, purple, or orange, it doesn't make any difference. Right. You can make something of yourself, whether you get educated, whether you go to a trade show, whether you go to a trade school, whether you go and intern to, hey, I want to learn how to do that. Yeah. Put yourself out there. Whether you want to get an education, I don't have the money to do that. Go in the service for 4 years. It's a lousy 4 years when you're young. It's
and it
not
opened
that big
doors
a deal.
for me, just the 4 years that I spent in there. It really did, because I ended up at that job at Budweiser. I think the group of people that I got hired in with, half of us were veterans. So it's like they like to, at least some companies anyway. At that point, when we were an American company, it was a different thing. But yeah, it does open doors, and so why not? Anyway, we. In his district, he's near Houston, it is a lot of white people. I mean, and those are Southern white people.
I like how he said, a lot of white people.
Well, he whispers like he learned that from Joe. Yeah. That's good stuff. Oh, my God.
Though I heard that part, and I like how he emphasized it. By whispering. You're not going to believe this.
It's good stuff. And we're going to wrap this up with, we do have a palate cleanser at the end of this thing we got coming up, but we have this is an article did your wife send this to you, or where did you get it?
I found it somewhere, and I wish I could tell you where. I do not recall.
It's a nice and bright, cheery article. It's 10 signs that you're living in a collapsing society. And Richard and I recorded this actually about a month ago, and we went back and forth on it. So we'll play that. Then we'll have a palate cleanser after that, and then we'll see you next week, folks.
You have to listen to me again because right. It's barbecue season. I think the last time we did this, I changed it a little bit because
for the end of the season.
For the end of the season, well, it's the beginning. So when you hear something mentioned about the end, just ignore it.
Yeah. No, actually, I think we have two of them. I had two versions, and I found this one. So yeah. Okay. So we're good. We will see you next Wednesday, folks. We will do that then. So.
Toodles, and it has been wonderful seeing you live and in person. More from the nipples up.
On that note, see you next week, folks.
Toodles, thanks everybody for listening.
10 signs you are living in a collapsing society. Throughout history, mighty civilizations have risen and fallen. Their collapse wasn't sudden, but a gradual process driven by internal decay. As historian Will Durant noted, a great civilization is not conquered from without until it has destroyed itself from within. The essential causes of Rome's decline lay in her people, her morals, her class struggle, her failing trade, her bureaucratic despotism, her stifling taxes, her consuming wars. Like a train slowly veering off its tracks, once a civilization begins its descent, it becomes increasingly difficult to reverse course. What lessons can we learn from these historical collapses? How might we recognize the warning signs in our own society? Number 1. Economic decline. Economic instability weakens societies and sets the ball rolling toward economic and eventually societal collapse. The economic collapse of the Roman Empire was due to overspending, inflation, and reliance on slave labor. Similarly, the Ming Dynasty faced severe economic decline due to excessive taxation, inflation caused by the influx of silver, and corruption. These issues weakened the state's ability to defend itself and maintain stability, leading to its collapse and the rise of the Qing Dynasty.
Number 2, political corruption and instability. It's hard for a civilization to survive years upon years of political instability. Just take a look at the fall of the Roman Empire, which was marked by political corruption, power struggles, and the eventual rise of dictatorial rule. Corruption in the final days of the Babylonian Empire, including infighting in the late Ottoman period, led to total societal collapse. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was plagued by political instability, largely due to its complex structure of dual monarchy and the competing interests of its various ethnic groups. The empire's political system struggled to accommodate the demands of different nationalities, leading to constant political deadlock and inefficiency. When citizens lose trust in their governments due to corruption, it's hard to respect, let alone obey their laws. Hence, a vicious cycle of upheaval is born.
Number 3, social inequality and class conflict. Another sign of a collapsing society is social inequality and class conflicts, such as the troubles that resulted from the increasing wealth gap and class struggles in pre-revolutionary France and Russia. Likewise, social stratification in Babylon and the rigid caste system in ancient India led to social unrest. The anger and social unrest led to revolutions and the overturning of governments.
Number 4, loss of civic pride and public morality. Edward Gibbon, who wrote the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, claims that the loss of civic pride brought on by the rise of the Christian religion was one cause of the empire's fall. The rise of the Christian religion influenced the Roman psyche, which coincided with the new revelations of moral decay. As Roman citizens embraced Christianity, they became more aware of immoral behaviors. Similarly, the moral and cultural decline in the final years of the Byzantine Empire undermined societal cohesion. Without shared pride and a shared notion of civic and moral responsibility, societies turn on each other from within.
Number 5, external threats and military overreach. Due to external threats and military forces' overreach, this has backfired in societies throughout history. Consider these examples. The overextension of the Roman Empire left it vulnerable to barbarian invasions. Napoleon's aggressive expansionism overstretched French military resources, leading to costly wars on multiple fronts. The disastrous invasion of Russia and subsequent military defeats ultimately led to France's downfall. Whenever external pressures threaten societies, they put their military to work. However, if they are not wise in how they use their military forces, they may inadvertently put themselves in greater danger.
Number 6, environmental degradation and resource depletion. Environmental neglect has led to resource scarcity, eventually leading to societal collapse. For example, historians believe deforestation and soil depletion contributed to the fall of the Sumerian civilization. Similarly, over-farming and desertification in ancient Mesopotamia led to societal stress.
Number 7, decline in intellectual and cultural life. A decline in intellectual pursuits and cultural innovation also tends to signal the fall of an empire. This is noticeable when we look at the decline in intellectual and cultural life during the fall of the Western Roman Empire and the stagnation of scientific and cultural development in the late Islamic Golden Age.
Number 8, centralization of power and loss of local autonomy. The centralization of power under the Roman emperors led to the decline of local governance. National Geographic explains, the Roman Empire dramatically shifted power away from representative democracy to centralized imperial authority, with the emperor holding the most power. For example, under Augustus's reign, emperors gained the ability to introduce and veto laws as well as command the army. As a result of this redistribution of power, the popular assemblies that functioned during the Republican period became less important and lost power. Likewise, the centralization of the Ottoman Empire under weak sultans proved ineffective.
Number 9, demographic decline and population pressure. When the population and demographics change drastically, it can signify bad things to come. For example, the population decline in late Rome due to plagues, declining birth rates, and constant warfare exacerbated the empire's collapse. There is also evidence that the population decline of the Mayan civilization was one cause of its collapse.
And finally, number 10, loss of faith in institutions and ideologies. One final sign that you're living in a collapsing society is the erosion of belief in societal institutions and ideologies. When citizens lose faith in government and religious institutions, chaos and disintegration follow. As mentioned, the loss of faith in the Roman government and traditional Roman religion contributed to the empire's fall. Similarly, by the late 17th and early 18th centuries, the Spanish Empire had lost much of its former power and influence. Corruption, military defeats, and economic difficulties led to a loss of faith in the monarchy and the church, both of which had been pillars of Spanish society. This disillusionment contributed to the empire's decline and eventual fragmentation. So y'all, this is just for informational purposes only. Take this information and draw your own conclusions.
Sunny summer days are made for backyard barbecues. So let's review these 5 basic backyard cookout behaviors for a final big cookout bash of the summer in an article written by Bill Lindsay titled Barbecue Manners. Number 1, there can only be one chef. When attending a barbecue as a guest, resist the urge to share your grilling techniques with the host or hostess. Everyone has his or her own way of doing things, but it's insufferably rude to act as if only you know the correct way to grill food. Even if you've won the World Series of Barbecue, sit back, enjoy the food, and be sure and compliment the chef. Number 2. No surprises. Now, when you're invited to a barbecue, it isn't rude to ask if you can bring a +1. But it is rude to simply assume it's okay to do so and startle your host. Make a point of arriving within 10 minutes of the time provided by your host. Arriving too early, it can interrupt the setup process. And arriving an hour or so late just shows a lack of respect. Number 3, bring something. Even if your host says that you don't need to bring anything, don't show up for a barbecue empty-handed. Napkins or paper towels are items that will always be appreciated, as are dessert items such as cookies or a pie. If you have dietary restrictions, let the host know when you accept the invitation and bring something that you can eat discreetly without making a fuss or embarrassing the host. Number 4, be social. A casual barbecue is a wonderful opportunity to reconnect with old friends and possibly make a few new ones. If you're the host, your first job is to make sure that all the guests are comfortable and enjoying themselves. If you see a shy guest, buzz on over and make them feel welcome by introducing them to the others. As a guest, say hello to everyone to enhance your enjoyment as well as theirs. Number 5, be appropriate. A family get-together isn't the same as a bunch of college buddies having a reunion, and it calls for a much different kind of behavior, regardless of whether the crowd is made up of family, close friends, or folks whom you've just met. Respectful, polite behavior is always the best option. Refrain from cursing. This is never appropriate, as is overindulging in adult beverages. Don't appoint yourself the party DJ either. Leave only smiles in your wake. I hope that Mr. Lindsay's list invites you to pause and think about how to have fun with others in a respectful, social manner. Now, get out there and enjoy some awesome home-cooked grilled food. Not to mention maybe a game or two of cornhole or horseshoes or whatever other family traditions you might enjoy. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Well, mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.